Hi, and welcome, everybody. I'm Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. You're watching the OSGA YouTube channel. As always, I'm joined by my late week co-host, Mr. Chip Chirimbes of ChipWins.com. We're recording on Thursday, the 5th of August, and we're going to give you a couple free MLB selections for Friday, August 6th. But without further ado, Chip Chirimbes, how are you, my man?
Coming along quite nicely, my friend. And look, it's just each and every day we're sitting there plugging away. Baseball's coming down to hey, how about all those trades? My goodness.
Yeah.
But I know people aren't happy about Rizzo going to the Yankees, but I know a few people in the Bronx are. So
I know a couple guys right here are. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It's about time they brought a couple of Italians on the New York Yankees with Joey Gallo and Andy Rizzo. Showing our partiality there, folks. Look, everybody's proud of their heritage, right? So we are too. Anyway, go ahead, Chip. Did you get cut off on your thought?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was just saying it. Looking at baseball today, what's going on now? Things are starting to tighten up in the National League East, where the Mets have now lost 6 of the last 8. Have a 1-game lead in the loss column against Philadelphia, with Philadelphia entering their game Thursday night. And, it's been a type of year that NFC East is so weak. I mean, Atlanta's been hurt and decimated with injuries. Washington has traded everyone and has been hurt as well. And now you have the Mets, who've been in first place longer than anyone else, Ross. They were in first place since May 1st. And now they've got a 1-game lead, and their hitting just hasn't come up to par. And, part of the problem is, they have Marcus Stroman pitching on Friday night at Philadelphia. He's 7-10 with an excellent 2.80 ERA. But it's always been the same story with him. I think we mentioned this earlier in the year, that no matter how well he pitches, he never seems to get the wins. And the teams either give up runs or it's just the way he pitches in spurts. The Mets are 25-51 as underdogs on the road. Now, this game's going to be close to pick 'em. You may have Philadelphia $1.15 or $1.20 by game time. I'm not sure. And this season, they're only 23-32 straight up on the road. So I think the Mets are really starting to show wear and tear, because they just don't have the depth. And having lost DeGrom, my goodness, I mean, how do you make up that? You can't. And Rich Hill came out and pitched a fine game against the Marlins on Thursday, but it wasn't enough because they just don't score any runs. Conforto's been terrible and really inconsistent on the offensive end, the entire Met team. Philadelphia, in the meantime, gets a hold of Kyle Gibson. Where'd they get him from? He was at Texas. Texas is terrible. He's 7-3 with a 2.86 ERA. And you know what? He has one start. He got one start against Pittsburgh, gave up 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. And maybe he'll be the impetus to help push Philadelphia past the Mets. I really didn't think they had a shot all year long. Harper's starting to come on and play a little bit better. I mean, as long as he continues, Ross, to be willing to go the opposite way with pitches, he's going to drive in more runs. They're 5-1 their last 6 at home as Philadelphia, and 31-21 on the year. I like Philadelphia in this situation. I think the Mets are stumbling, and I think Philadelphia may have the mojo right now.
Yeah, Kyle Gibson. You're right. I mean, imagine it. Talk about a guy with no run support. Texas can't hit their way out of a paper bag. And he's posted that kind of record with those kind of numbers below a 3 ERA this late in the season. You have to take notice when that occurs. And, Marcus Stroman, he's had a great year. And yes, he's been victimized by a lack of run support, but he's had some recent struggles of late. So maybe he hit the wall a little bit. So I can't disagree with that play whatsoever. Philly's scoring some runs right now too, Chip. I think they're averaging over 6 runs a game over the last 5 or 6. So definitely like that play. And what frustrates me before I get to my pick, Chip, is every day looking at this board and seeing all the big chalks on the board. It just makes it. Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, but it's been terrible trying to come up with something in the last 10 days, because our customers don't want us to give them a 2-1 favorite. And the dog may not even be the play in that game anyway. So, I mean, I've had to pass a number of days, and I've explained to my clients that it's just not there. And we're going to come back fresh with this weekend and go gangbusters.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look for totals, or on the rare occasions you get a line like the one we just mentioned in the Philly Mets game, where it's a virtual even game. But those are few and far between of late. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at a key AL East battle. The Boston Red Sox at the Toronto Blue Jays. And yes, that game's going to be played in Toronto. So finally, the Blue Jays playing on their home field. And boy, oh boy, earlier in the month, we did a segment on where we picked teams that we feel like were going to come on in the second half and teams we thought were going to falter. And I really like the Toronto Blue Jays to surge, and they're starting to do so, Chip. They've won 6 of their last 7. Of course, as we're recording, they play tonight, and Boston has already lost earlier today. Again, folks, reminding you, we're recording on Thursday the 5th for Friday the 6th. Boston lost 8-1 to Detroit earlier. They have now lost 6 of their last 7, Chip. And here's a Toronto team that trails them by 6 games in the standings, yet they're a $1.38 favorite in this game. And it's not like Boston has a terrible pitcher going and Nathan Eovaldi. Eovaldi's been overall good, but over his last 4 on the road, he struggled a bit. Going inside the numbers, a 6.30 ERA in his last 4 on the road. As I mentioned, Toronto 6-1 in their last 7 and averaging 6.4 runs per game during that time, while Boston on that 1-6 stretch averaging just 2.6 runs per game. So all of a sudden, the Red Sox bats have gone silent. And Alek Manoah, he's been a great pickup. Now, I shouldn't say pickup, but since they brought him up from the minors, 9 starts this year, Chip, a 2.47 ERA, an 0.97 whip. His last 4, a 0.76 ERA. He's made 1 start against Boston. It was a good one. He went 6 innings, allowed just 1 earned run on 4 hits while walking just 1. I like the Toronto Blue Jays here. I'm going to lay the juice, minus 138 over the Boston Red Sox on Friday, August 6th. For my MLB free pick. And Chip Chirimbes likes the Philadelphia Phillies minus the 110 over the New York Mets on Friday, August the 6th as his free pick as well. Any final thoughts, Chipper?
I think your idea of playing Toronto in the second half of the season was really boistered last week when I told you, watch out that Berrios may get traded, and he got traded to Toronto.
Yeah.
And he's a fine pickup because he really, I think, it may be the missing link in that staff, or at least to have them be able to fight down the stretch. So I think Toronto, like you said, what you said at the break, is a team they're playing in the second half. So this conjointly would probably go with it.
Yeah, what's ironic is, if I recall, last Thursday, Berrios was scheduled to pitch on Friday for Minnesota, and you were on them. And lo and behold, the next morning they trade Berrios. So talk about hindsight. I didn't know you had that big of a crystal ball, Chip. But in any event, you could find Chip at chipwins.com. You could find me at rbwins.com. Again, folks, Major League Baseball picks on a daily basis there. Also, you'll find us both posting NFL and college football annual packages, monthly packages, weekly, whatever you need. We're going to put money in your pocket. That's chipwins.com or rbwins.com. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbes, I'm Ross Benjamin. Take care and God bless, folks.